Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me. I'm just going to. Sorry, I'm just finishing getting set up here. There, get some more light. There we go. There we go. Just pivot it a little bit like so. There we go. Okay, we are back set up. You actually can't see my face at all, which I don't think is a problem, but hey, there we go. You can kind of see me. Yeah, so today I'm just working on, we have one of our local Infinity tournaments coming up this weekend. So, I just wanted to figure, I'm working on finishing off some military orders for a couple lists, and I figured might as well jump on camera while I do it. So, these guys are mostly done. I am going for just a very bright chrome armor, and really I'm down to the sword, the line of the swords, the line of sight markings, and then the glowy power bits that are on a lot of the power armors, and then of course freehand if I have time to get around to drawing a bunch of crosses, because it is military orders, and what's military orders without a bunch of tabards with crosses? So I can show you some of the models in the progress. For example, here is the big boy. Here's my Seraph. And this isn't some super advanced scheme, but nice, quick, fast. That's kind of the look we're going for with the sword. The fade from the purple to the red's not the best there, but I can try to glaze it back a bit more. Just transition that a bit more there. And the other side, I think I had already done this a bit more. Okay. I'm a bit happier with that, but. So there he is, all bright and sober. This is the chrome paint. I am going to go back again at the very end and just do another touch of the chrome in some of the brighter spots. It is cool, like you can see how much the colors being near it reflect off of other things being nearby, which is fun. But right now, sword-wise, we have the Black Friar, we have the Teutonic Knight, we have, of course, Deferzen, who I gave pretty much Eugene Levy eyebrows, it seems. And then we have my father and / Knights of Justices. So we got these two. We got the Caldstrom, I believe. And then we got the classic. I think this is the Ice Storm Father Knight, and Spitfire guy that came out at some point. I don't remember, but before they stopped being Father Knights, and then now again they brought back Father Knights. So paint wise, oh, my bunny somehow got into an area she's not allowed in. Out! How did you get back there? There's a literal gate wall. Did you? I hope you don't jump over onto my computer. That would be bad. Sorry about that. Do you want to say hello? Say hello. Here, she's decided to come say hello. This is Coco. She's being naughty, so she's getting held up and squished. Yeah? Okay. Okay. Now back to painting. Paint-wise, that's what we're saying. Sorry, need to buy a new chair. It's starting to give out. So, using some Reaper paints, some Burgundy Wine, Fire Red, Phoenix Red, and then Fire Orange. I never actually get, I don't think, to pure Fire Orange. It's very yellowy. But that's kind of the fade. I'm not doing a particularly other people do much better fades and much better things. The interesting thing is each military order knight seems to have a different design sword. This changes how I'm doing it. These guys have the flat and then the edges. So I'm going to do the flat. I'm going to keep it purple down here. Then I'm doing the edges purple up here. The thing that's nice and bad about Reaper paints is I find they're very thin and usually take a lot of coats to cover, but that's actually probably good for what we're doing here. I don't know. Swords are one of those things. Swords and skin, in case you couldn't tell from how bad Mendoza was, swords and skin are the two things that I don't really like to do. I'm not even going to bother washing my brush just because I don't really care. Just kind of thin it. This is just, I'm not even thinning it right now, this is just my paint from yesterday. It's just been sitting on the wet palette with a lid on, so it's kind of gotten wetter. We'll just kind of do that. Try to make the transition point at a angle instead of just a straight line across. We need to come back and establish the edge there better, but that's fine, we can do that later. The underside on this guy is going to be hard to see for you on camera, but just do that. As I understand it, the more transition colors between the two, the better it'll look. With that saying, I didn't do that many. I'll just do a bit more of one, I think, actually. Because that purple is very dark compared. If you know the Reaper line, you'll know they have they call them paint triads, which are like essentially 3 paints that go together nicely. The red, orange, and yellowier orange, I guess, that I'm using here are a triad. The purple is actually from another paint triad. So you could do this with wet blending, and it would probably work better, but we're not doing that. We're just pseudo wet blending, I guess, because I am kind of doing the back and forth that you do with wet blending. I guess this is just, single brush wet blending. Which I don't know if that's an actual thing, but hey, it is today. Okay, so that was the red. We're gonna move to kind of a mid-tone between the red and the orange. Go to the pure orange, and probably be easier if this is already to put on top. So we're just trying we're trying not to, when I'm doing this part here, I'm trying not to get into the darker parts on the very tip that we've already established, but it might happen. And then we'll go to the pure Phoenix red. Called it an orange, it's technically not, and that's gonna be the last color we use. Just gonna we'll do some cleanup. Now I'm realizing the way I did that point is very very dark on this model. It's a bit unfortunate. Probably don't want it to be quite that dark. That's fine. I'm just going to go back to the mid-tone here a bit and just kind of shrink the orange down a bit. Transition back into the red a bit more. Same with here. Let's get the red a bit further up onto this point. So I think we're going to need to do that kind of mix of the purple and the red and get that almost all the way to the tip. Now, you might think, don't we want the tip to be the brightest part? Don't worry, we will get there, because what we will do is, now what we're going to do, it doesn't look the best, but try and get it done. So, kept it pretty clean there. Touch that up. The backside looks a bit messier, but the underside doesn't really matter, because realistically, who other than me is going to pick up the model and look at it upside down like that? You can't even see, it's blurry. I will say with swords, I love Infinity models, but the I miss like nice simple GW, diamond shapes, perfectly diamond shaped swords. Looks like I actually did. 1 second. I got a bit of paint over here, which I don't want. Okay. Just suck on my brush a bit. So now we have the brightest color, the fire orange, and I have it pretty thinned down, and we're essentially just going to do an edge highlight. The easiest edge, of course, is the true edge of the blade. You can just do the classic run your brush along it. And we'll need to be a bit more careful when we do this part right here. Now it is probably more yellow than I want, but I'll show you in a second how I tone that down. Now one nice thing about this, guys, I don't need to worry about doing raised lettering like I do on either raised or recessed lettering. So like on the serif that I showed a bit earlier, there was the recessed. Yeah, that's better. So I am, though, one of the reasons I thin this down so much is I'm going to try to get a nice little line there. No, I definitely messed it up a bit, but helps add a bit of breaking it up there a bit. Sword looks okay. I'm not even could do it on the bottom, but the top I might just add a bit more definition here. This is not a professional painting stream. This is a watch someone try and get some models done type of stream. Okay, I'm just gonna put a bit more of the darker red back in there. And some of this cleaner orange back up here. And just bring down that yellow just a tiny bit. Okay. The secret sauce. Some good old bloodletter glaze, which does not exist anymore. I have probably like a third to a half of a pot left, and it's nice and easy. You can make your own glazes. I like it because it's straight from the pot. And usually it has a pretty good effect of tying these swords together. This guy's sword did not turn out quite as well as the ones I was doing last night. That's fine. As it dries, it kind of helps tie the colors together. I still might come back just quickly as it is still a little bit wet because it dries a bit. I'm just gonna go for another extreme edge. But because it's a bit wet, the glaze is still a little bit wet. It'll kind of not be quite as orange. It'll blend in a bit with it. Nope, that's too much. And I'm just going to angle it not perfectly perpendicular, but a bit leaning towards the top. Since I have perpendicular like that, just a little bit of an angle. Just so a little bit more of the color comes out onto the top side of the blade, because that's the side we're going to see. But quick and easy. It's not the best looking sword, but it will do. That's what we're doing. Other guys turned out a bit better. So like, here's my Mendoza. Similar approach. Smaller sword, so I didn't do the like sides a different color. But the bigger the sword, the easier it is to do fun stuff like that. And actually, even with, I'm realizing I didn't really do too much with the Seraph either. The first one I'd done years ago was this guy, whose sword turned out the best, but that little line across, maybe I need to do that on some of the other ones. But next up, let's do the Teutonic Knight. And when I was talking about the glowing bits, I mean like, you know, like all these little glowing crosses and obviously the eyes and stuff like that. This guy's going to be annoying to draw his cross onto his tabard, but that's for a later problem. I am just going to add a bit more paint to my palette though. I think that usually if you're doing like more of a, you know, the NMM swords, you see a lot of places they go back and forth across the blade, alternating colors. These swords are small. I don't want to do that much back and forth. So, some more paint. Before I start, I think I'm just not even going to bother starting with the pure purple. I like the kind of mid-tone purple between the red and the purple. It's just a bit lighter. So, looking at this blade, there is a difference with the flat, but I think I'm not going to. I'm just going to do a full fade from darkest to lightest near the tip, because I think that looks better. In terms of my lists themselves, the plan, there's some of the things you might see me painting are proxies. I'm using the Mendoza, Padre Inquisitor Mendoza. I'm actually using as the what's his name? Hawkins. In one of my silly heavy infantry lists. Both my lists for the event are going to just be 10 models. So the idea was being able to get stuff painted up quickly. So with that, okay, so that's the purple color, the midtone. We'll just the red. It's kind of like I did the first time. I think it works better. Gonna get the red most of the way down the blade because the purple is just kind of supposed to be at the very top of it. So do that. So, again, the goal is kind of look good, but not need to necessarily spend the most time. Nice thing is this paint, even straight from the bottle, even not sitting on my wet palette overnight, is pretty thin, so as long as I don't dump a ton of it on something, it doesn't really cover in one go anyways, so I can just control how much I want to cover by how many passes I go, so especially down by the point where it's switching colors to this red, I'll do a bit more, but the rest is more just to give an already lighter base for the following layers to go. How's everyone doing tonight? I don't know if anyone's watching. If you are watching, please comment. And if you're watching later, thank you for watching later. It's kind of like watching now, but later. Okay, let's do a mix of the orange and the red. I keep calling it orange, but Phoenix Red is, I guess, technically, it's called a red, so. So let's say about here up. Again, because it's so thin, if I just kind of choose a point and go up from there, the first coat's not going to get full coverage. So then what I can do is do a second coat of it, but instead of doing it all the way, so I started here last time, but this time I'm just going to start here. So there actually will be a bit of a transition because this place will be more true coverage of that orange. Orange red, the orangey red. We'll call it Jean Grey. Phoenix. Okay. And then we'll go into the pure orange. That'll again just be the tip. Oh, one of the problems here is I'm not letting the layers actually dry properly. I should probably, instead of just doing one model at a time, do a layer of one and the other, but there we go. But by not letting it dry fully, it makes it so there is more of a fade. Now this one's really gonna use that nice line from the other color. What's it called? Why am I even forgetting the paint names? They're in front. Fire orange. There we go. True orange. So we're gonna just do that. Trying to have it touch as little as possible. Notice there's two edges there actually. Come back. Oh, that's too much. Down here, I'm just gonna quickly grab some of that red and put it back. brush slicker, so I'll just leave it wet and kind of. I think that's what they call feathering. I'm not sure, but let's just do something like that. Let's do the same on the other side. So we'll go to the tip. So it's kind of like there's near the bottom it branches almost. Yeah, there's this kind of raised part right along here. There's still that weird. There's still flat to this blade, and then the actual edges. So just like so. I can do the bottom, so why not? Other than that, right there, I just kind of painted the whole edge yellow. That's fine. We're just going to do it like that. And I think what I might actually do is there's the very tip. Give a bit of orange, and then like on that other one, do a bit of a thin line across. I realized that this got really blurry, didn't it? There. There's a kind of nice little line across. It's a bit big, so we're just gonna blend it out a bit. Kind of looks like the intermediary color between the red and the orange. Nice wet, nice and thin down paint, just whatever, just go over it. I'm going to get some of that paint that's not as thin down, because it's going to be a lot easier to do that line with the paint that is not super thin, considering the paint is already thin to start. So just there we go. This one I might not actually bother with the glaze. The glaze kind of is I didn't do it well enough, and I need to try and fix it. So this will be that. I do want to get some of that yellow edging all the way down here, though, right to the very base of the blade. Very clear it's part of the actual sword, not part of the hilt. But there we go. Since I'm here, I'm gonna just put a dot of a brighter red back into this hilt, and then just wipe off the excess, just to get the little glowing cross. There we go. Another sword down. Okay. We have 4 more swords. And then the most visible parts of the model are done. Let's start with Defersen. His eye is a bit weird. Kind of follows you. I still haven't decided if I'm going to make some of his hacking stuff glow or not, but that is something I'll decide later. Let's start, and I think this time actually what I'm going to do is I will keep doing it. I said I was going to maybe swap to a different, not doing all the colors on one, doing a full sort of one with actually swapping between models, but I think for him I'm not going to. Now, he does have, again, fairly prominent sides here. I don't want to do them separate. It just doesn't seem to work out well when I do. So, we're not going to. Now, his sword, you'll see, has that annoying writing. It looks really cool, except it's impossible to actually hand write that in. What I'll do at the end, you'll see, is I'm going to essentially take the bright fire orange kind of put it in there and then just wipe off the excess, which is always risky, but we will try it and see if we can do it in a way that doesn't just look bad. More into the red. And on the other side, same thing. I'm going to do the higher, it's going to go further in the higher part. Okay. Just like so. We did say last time to cover the next part you're going to paint as well, because that's going to help it blend into the next color. So let's just do that. And then we have the 50-50 mix. So, see, this is even still drying. We'll just do that. I realized I was muted for that last while. That's funny. Okay, I'm just gonna actually just get a nice wet down that yellow. Now what we're gonna do is try and get that nice word. So we're gonna get this nice and almost like a glaze. We want it to stay bright, but we want it to flow into the grooves. So we did that. It's nice. Get some of it. We're just gonna kind of stipple it in quickly and then wipe it off. Stipple it in. It's still wet. Quickly wipe it off. And there you go. You get the blade glowing a bit. I'm actually there's a kind of groove around the flat. I'm just going to use this to kind of fill that groove. It's the same approach. I hope add some breaking it up. So let me just there. So now the problem with doing that, the blade is kind of just like has like this haze of that yellowiness to it now. We're going to do it to the other side quickly. So the reason there's the haze is essentially when you wipe it off, not all the yellow's coming off. A bunch of it's probably staying on the blade, just spread out. And that is where our friend, the Bloodletter glaze, comes back. Again, you can make your own glaze. I find sometimes when I make my own glazes, I just ruin my paint job. So I still have this, and until my bottle runs out, I don't have to. I'm just gonna try and keep it not as much into the art we did, the words we just filled, but it'll get in there. But let that dry for a second. But there is Mendoza's blade. I think we might quickly, like we did last time, after doing that, just kind of come back in with a bit of a spot of the pure fire orange. Just, oh, it's a bit too much there. Just near the tip. Just help get it extra bright. And maybe a quick run along there. There we go. Another sword done. I'm kind of looking to see how the other ones turned out after I rubbed on them. The back, here's the Teuton. Ooh. It's pretty good. His not so much. But maybe what I'll do to try and maybe I can improve it the same way I did the Teuton. His doesn't have any writing on it. What I'll do is that nice line across, like so. If I do a bit of a help distinguish those a bit with a bright line, might help too. Let's just take that a bit. Not too much, just a little bit. Not my favorite, but we're trying to get these done for our thing, so let's not dilly-daddle. Let's see how this guy, fade turned out pretty nicely. So he is at the Yellowing stage. He does, or she, sorry. She doesn't have any of the writing, so we can just kind of. This will be nice and easier. The direct edge of the blade. I'm just gonna do it heavier, hoping some of it comes onto the other sides. And I'll just do the same thing on the other side. I'm just gonna really get the tip. Do the same here. I'm gonna do that what I said before with the slight angling, just to get a bit more of the orange down like so. Those tips of it. Just on here like that. Check. Am I on camera? Nope. There we go. Okay. And then I'm gonna just do line. Cross. And as always, I mess it up. I need to kind of thin it out just a hair, thin it out. Okay, but like hers, I think though I should do one of those on the other side. Let's see if I can't do it in one go. There we go. Line along here on this side because I did it on the other side. I missed it on this side. Helps blend it into the edge there. Okay. But that is the Knight of Justice's blade done. Try not to shake the camera. Cool. Okay. 2 more, and then we're done the blades. Which will be nice. I look forward to being done the blades. Because then I just need to... I'll probably quickly do line of sight markings, and then I'll do the glowing bits. So we're going to do the both Father Knights at the same time. I just earlier base coated these in a... I don't remember the name of it. It's like a rusty red or something. Blood red. Isn't that far off of this 50-50 mix of the kind of wine, what do they call it, burgundy wine color. So it's interesting. These guys' blades are more complex. No. I think what I might do, actually, so this I'm going to start doing red down here. But what I might do, and it might work better here, because I think I've learnt from the Blackfire, I'm going to start with red down here on this part. But I'm going to start with red up here on the edge. Not purple. I think that was a mistake. I actually went all the way to the purple on the other one. Start there, go to there. And we're gonna do let's do the reverse on the underside. Kind of experimenting. This whole faction paint's a bit of an experiment for me, so Why not? So I'm going to try doing it. And then up here will be the red on the inside. So I'm going to actually put a bit more of that red down because I'm running out on my palette. Now do we go back and forth? Let's do the same on this guy. So I'm going to quickly get the purple base just down there. I actually probably don't need to do this because the color of the sword's already pretty close to that. If anything, it'll probably transition better because it's a bit redder, but that's fine. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to want the, let's do red on the edge. And on the edge. And then red on the flat. So. And then we'll do the reverse. Red on the edge of the tip. Could actually reverse the edges, but that's fine. And then we're going to do red here. Okay, so that's him. Alternate back and forth, I think. His sword, we're going to do about there in red. Trying to do nice thin coats so I can actually still paint the letters. Right there. Right there. Spin it around and it's the reversed. No idea how this will turn out, but hey. Probably turn out at least okay, which is really what we're at least looking for. So the next Father Knight, back to him. We're going to start with the edges red, like so. This guy, flat of the blade red. And then edge like so. And then figure out how to kind of paint it upside down. Like so. And like so. I'm hoping I'm not getting onto the other side of the blade. Not good. Okay. Let me quickly just take a quick peek at what time it is. Okay. Now we do the 50-50. Just like the others, we're just gonna start about here. Get all the way up. Actually, don't mind if I leave a bit of that darker color in the shadows, just helps make the distinction between the edge and the flat a bit more clear. No, we're supposed to be doing the mid-tone. Get it all the way there. And then all the way like so. This is already kind of dry, so I'll just do it again. Okay. And the other side will be something like so. And then on the edges like so. Definitely need another coat. Let's see how we're doing this side. Looking better on this side. I need to add more paint to my mix because it's getting a bit too thin. Wait, that's going orange down. So this is going orange closer to the tip on this side. Which I think I went backwards accidentally. Wait. Orange near the bottom, orange near the tip. So it means this should be orange near the bottom. More of a red at the tip. Maybe there should be more. Yep. Bottom, red at the tip. Mid-tone. Here. There we go. Like that. Okay. Let's let that guy sit for a bit. Here we are at the mid-tone stage as well. So this is clearly, we want mid-tone. Going out to there. And that's the mid-tone between the Phoenix and Fire Red. I see there's Fire Red, Fire Orange. That's why I'm getting confused. Why can't they just name them after, you know, specific monsters or stuff, you know, like other companies do? I'm kidding. I don't actually like the, you know, if there was like a, you know, Caledonian blue or something. Not a huge fan of it when we get that in paint ranges. It's not actually limiting, but it feels like orange there. Red to orange. So it should be red to orange. It's really easy to get confused on these when you're in these midtones. When I'm not doing like a back and forth like some people do, it's kind of gets a bit confusing. Okay. So that means it's easier here because I can see. So this is what should be orange going down here. Red to orange, red to orange. Not going on back upwards towards the tip there. Red to orange, that means red to orange. So you want to get more of that onto there. Okay, let's go back to the other guy. I think we're at the pure orange stage. Where, again, it's Phoenix Red, not orange. So I can't tell. I think it's red to orange. I think the orange is more here, yeah. And then the orange would be other side it should be reversed, so the tip should be what we're making more orange. I think I also confused myself because I reversed this, how it was going on the two different models. Orange. Do another hit of the orange. And then we'll do another hit of the orange. That's a decent fade. Let's do the pure Phoenix red here. I think this is the orange. I think that's orange. That's that. There we go. Kind of see where the last layer was. There. So do something like that. Which means this flat means that this tip should be the orange there. I do not like paint swords and skin. Not a fan of doing either. Is it because they can use, a lot of times to make them look good, you need to do cool techniques that I'm not good at? Probably. And I feel like a lot of these techniques take time. I'm often painting to quickly get something done for a tournament, so don't necessarily have the time for slower techniques, or techniques at least that take patience. But as I was saying before, we're doing the good enough approach, and I think these are probably good enough. I feel like there's almost less of a transition than some of the other ones, but that's fine. Let's jump into the orange stage, but first I'm just going to quickly give my bunny her pellets. Okay, there we are. We're back. Okay, let's finish up these last two swords, and then finish up the swords, and then we can. I'm gonna, instead of doing the glowing bits immediately, I'm probably gonna just quickly knock out line of fire markings. Just doing kind of in the priority of things that have to get done. Actually, if I just do it a bit messier, almost kind of gives it a bit of a fiery look. I've been recently painting a lot with oranges and reds. If you were watching my any of my videos where I was working on my Mount Haven, so I do like the heat of the colors. Okay, and let's just try and carefully, as I do it off camera, because that's where I can get better positioning. Let's just try and gently get along this edge too. That inner edge. I might just do it on one side because I don't know if it's necessary on both sides. And by both sides I mean sides of the blade. I'll do it on both top and down of this side of the blade. Just really help define the shape. like so. I think I even might. I'm gonna get a bit more of the yellow on. Just kind of have some splashes of it there. I think that looks good. Might do it on the other side a bit just because I've lost some definition here. The purple, the dark line's not there anymore. So I do want to get the shape. Oh, it's kind of cool on the other side of the blade. The dark is still kind of there. So I'm just going to leave it like so. Now, part I always fear, I'm just going to get that kind of try and get the drop into the letters. Some of these letters I can't really make out too much anymore, which means they're probably a bit too filled for this approach. I literally lift my finger. Okay, let's try the other side. I just need a bit more water. I think it says one thing I liked about Mendoza is instead of being recessed, his were actually raised, which I guess makes less actual sense probably. There we go. And voila. I'll see how this dries and then decide if I want to do the red glaze on him or not. But one last edge, blade edge to do, and then I can stop using these paints for now, which I just like my AK paints way better. Okay, I think these guys are both the same generation of knight model. Like that N3 military orders. They're like the same era as the Hospitaller, and not like the female knight or Mendoza that we just did. Well, Mendoza I did last night. The female father knight I guess the Knight of Justice. When they initially got rid of the father knights, only to bring them back a few years later as the Crux Knights. Father Knight Crux Knights. Just kind of get up on that like so. Again, I don't need to do both sides always, but this one lost some distinction between the blade and the flat, so having either a light or a dark line. I could have done this with a dark line, but I kind of like it with the light line. Also with the light line I don't mind it if a bit of it gets into the paint on the edge of the blade either. Okay, I'm just quickly doing the other side. I think it's less needed on this side. Just come a bit with the angle like so. Maybe do just this edge of the blade. Just nice and quick. And then we have our letters again. Can't make them out, so let's. I think it says Deo Vernus, maybe. There we go. He's ready to stab you with his blade. Which again, might clean up with the glaze because it is getting a bit frosty there. Okay. Let's put him there for a second while he dries. Let's see how this guy's just doing. This one, I think, I'm fine how it is. Back's not as good. Definitely not as clean, but it is. Hers looks probably one of the better ones. Mentos is looking good. Okay, so do we or do we not do a quick blaze on his? Do you want? Let's do it. That's a very thin glaze, though. Not flooding the blade, just a nice quick tie it all together. Then, as before, while it's still wet, come back in with the brighter orange. Just keep it brighter near the tips. Okay. Blade's done. Letters aren't necessarily super clear, but hey, I have no idea what the intention is on these blades anyways. Okay. Almost done. You're gonna make me start two brush blending. It is definitely much better than the thumb. But I was only using the thumb not for blending, but for just taking the when I was flooding the recesses. The blending, I wasn't using the thumb. I was just doing more glazing. It was thin coats, but fast glazing. So not as nice and effective. I've tried two brush blending before. It is a superior style. I find it hard to do on small surfaces, but I also don't usually bother. Oh, this is my Montesa my Militaire Teak Blanc with a rough tabard, but you know, it's a jungle knight. You can't have a nice clean tabard. It's kind of not the best sculpted tabard, but I also realized my green stuff was kind of old and not particularly smooth. Okay. Just gonna quickly knock out these line of fire markings. This is like the first time I think I've done an army that actually all has the sculpted ones. I don't usually bother, but because of that, I have like a stockpile of. Now I have enough built up of these ones that I can just be like, hey, this army that half came out before and half came out after the molded or the sculpted line of fire markings, I can actually just be like, no, you are going to all have them. So it works. Okay. This is the Seraph's little bot. It's harder to see on camera. There is distinction between different metals on it. Once I start doing more glow on it, it will have more interest. Also, I'm probably going to freehand a little cross because right now it's just a silver boy. And the idea of the army was pretty much, yeah, no. If it is armor, we're doing chrome. some of the more mechanical parts on this guy aren't chrome, but otherwise pretty much just straight chrome. They're just all yelling, "Witness me," the Mad Max reference. Fox Ranger, what are you up to today? I'm not worrying about full opacity here because I am actually gonna do a quick little highlight up. I usually do 2 to 3 tones on my line of fire markings if I'm not doing a fancy one. Some of my more recent armies, like if you saw my next wave, it actually has a fancier line of fire marking, but in general, if I'm using the sculpted ones, I don't bother. I think I did for some of my next wave, because my next wave that would have come in the bundle, like the true next wave models, they would have had line of fire bases, because I just used the ones that they came with. But Seraph, I was originally going to use the same paints I was using for the sword, the Reaper ones, but especially for these, when I'm really just trying to get line of fire markings usually done pretty quick, often literally the night before the event, but today we're a bit ahead. I'm not going to use the Reaper that goes slower. So right now I'm just using the AK Scarlet Red. You say I know who you are, but I also am bad at remembering people's fake names. But now that you say you're Painted Liberated, I think I know who you are. Have you painted all the eyeballs yet? Yeah, but your Aleph was painted in as though they were GW models, right? You're trying to be all Tech Marini, or not Tech Marini, Mechanicus. Technically different, I think, if I remember my GW lore. As I'm doing this, you'll get to see all the different MO models I painted up to potentially use this weekend. Even though some are proxies, because like I think my Knight Commander, who is already painted, but I think I showed his sword earlier, he's gonna be my Raven Eye, because I could use an actual Raven Eye, but my actual painted Raven Eye is in my O12 scheme, which is, you know, very stylized. And 2, everyone should be a knight. Could have non-knights. Oh, there is an actual. Top painting eyes needs to be. Yeah, especially when your models have like a dozen eyes each. None of which are on their heads, which I feel like makes it harder. After I'm done my military orders, I need to go back and finish painting off my scions. Fox Ranger is painting his scions right now. Yeah, and I'm not. The 2 things I'm most nervous about painting are the Tutor and the Liberated, just because of all those eyes, especially the Liberated. Cause they're not the Liberated. The Liberated you can kind of get away with, you know, They have a lot of eyes, but they're small. But the tutor, those are just like giant eyeballs. You almost have to do a properly detailed eyeball. Or do what I'll probably do, which is a stylized eyeball. There was somebody in one of the Discords that was doing like, I think he said he Googled two evil eyes, and so one of his was like painted like the Eye of Sauron, which was pretty awesome. I might go for the Hypnotoad from Futurama, because it's kind of like just like a wibbly wobbly eyeball, and not like needing to be accurate to what eyes look like. So I think it will work. Also, it kind of fits the tutor. I feel like he could be using some sort of hypnosis. I'm not quite sure how back off, like the ability back off works, like canonically. I assume he's not just yelling at them to back off. You copped out and went for pearls instead of eyeballs. That's cheating. Especially because we already have the pearl and the tutor doesn't chuck out arrows. The tutor is already good enough, not to mention if they were virtuoso. No, you converted a bunch of yours. Did you actually get the proper like tutor model then? Doing this because after this I have two other steps. One is going around finding every little bit of glow, which includes doing all the red glowing night face masks and painting those. Shouldn't be too hard. I'm not going to do anything particularly fancy. I'll probably just do a quick dot of white and then drop some red there. But then I have to decide if I'm going to actually do all the freehand for some crosses and stuff on guys, and that scares me. Yeah, Mael is a pretty cool model. I don't know why. She really reminds me, she just feels like some of the enemies in Expedition 33 to me. Like the dancers, or whatever they're called. Oh yeah, I think you showed me how you were doing the mask maybe on Mael. Yeah, as officer packs go, it's pretty solid officer pack. Maybe after I do my action pack tier list, I'll need to do I'll do officer pack tier list, and then I'll do support pack tier lists. Because I hear that tier lists are the best way to get engagement, because either people agree with you and they like to sometimes tell you that, or more likely people disagree and those people talk more. It's kind of like with Rate My Doctor, the Rate My Doctor, Rate My Teacher websites. The people that like the teacher don't usually go and bother to go and write anything on those websites to rate them positively. So I assume if someone has like a, their rating is usually, they're probably not as bad as their rating suggests. Unless they have thousands of entries saying that they're the worst teacher ever. Okay. I've now done everyone. else do I want to? Yeah, we were finished long ago. This is essentially the glowing eyes I'll need to do. But it's pretty cheap. I don't even think I went back and did orange as well. I might do for some of the face masks, but yeah, it's kind of like that glows. Yeah, see, he actually got freehand. He was for a competition. So, okay, next, after the scarlet red, we're going to go for some burnt orange, and then I might just do a quick hit of the yellow after. I might actually just do both at the same time right now. Just so I don't need to go through every model again. Starting with the tick. He's back, and we'll just do a bit higher up, bit higher up. Just do like the front angle of it. Front angle of it. And just grab a little bit of yellow. And just a little bit of yellow on the top. Just a little bit of yellow on the top. We'll call that finished. So he is done. Same thing. Do. And just a little bit of yellow. Not bothering cleaning my brush. And a little bit of yellow. Good enough. This is a bit more interesting than just the flat color. Top half. There. Boop. Boop. Yellow. Okay. Next. One thing I like about doing the chrome is it's a very durable paint. So I don't need to varnish these guys after. I probably won't even paint on varnish onto the non-chrome parts. So okay, let's get all the guys that go on the handle. I'll do a quick wash of my brush. Let's do these guys rapid fire. Top of it. You're gonna get a bit more because your opacity, it didn't really take it all there. And we'll go a touch of yellow. A nice yellow line. Line. Run it like I was gonna say the DMV, but the DMV is not very fast, is it? So over so like so. That gets yellow. 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 More yellow there. Next. Orange. 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 Yellow. Yellow. And yellow. There. I hate batch painting, but I feel like lately I always end up batch painting. I'm never just painting like a model unless I'm painting for MCP. Oh. I must have been in and out of being connected to chat, which is annoying. I hope people weren't trying to talk to me. Well, I do hope they were, but I feel bad if I couldn't actually see what they were saying. Okay, there we go. Yellow. It's kind of hard to see because of the rock overhangs. A lot of the MO models are cool, but they're really impractical on the table is the annoying part. It's like a lot of them are all swords pointing forward and like capes spilling past their bases. Like this guy, it's like just fully off his base. He has to have a base topper to be able to actually play. Or good old what's he called? Black something. Right, black. Not Black Angel. Not Black Air. Blackfriar. Blackfriar. His gun points forward off the base, and the sword points backwards off the base. So you can't even do the like. He's the reverse of how he wants to look because both sides are gonna overhang. So you carry like little silhouette markers to be like, okay, here, let me just replace him with a silhouette marker. Okay, 4 more. My favorite Crozier's nice. He decided to cover one of his eyes, so I didn't have to do 2 eyes for him. It's Rainbow Satisfaction. Doesn't have faces to paint. Made me happy. Because I hate painting faces. I hate painting skin in general. I don't know what it is. It's just harder. So you can get away with a lot more when it comes to armor than you can with skin. It's a bit messy. Two more. Two more. Just the Runetarian. Have I you know, way back when I thought about doing the cool teal camo fade thing you see like 40k players do on some things on these guys, but she was painted at a time I needed to go quick. This is usually the case, so she is not. Okay, last one. Teutonic Knight. Let's do it. Get done. Get her done. There we go. Losing opacity in this paint too. Yeah, I do like the AK paint. AK paints in general are much better. You like having formulas for painting skin, and if you skip the last step, it looks way off. Yeah, yeah. Skin is weird, and like sometimes I'll do what I like doing for skin, or I've done for one person with skin, and then suddenly it just like won't work on another. Okay, I'm actually going to. Let's see if I can stand for a bit. What is no? I don't know why. Oh, that's why. No, I cannot stand because. No standing. My standing desk, everything is attached except the camera is the way it's attached to my computer. Doesn't have enough go. So what is your trick for skin? What's your tell me your secrets. Okay. Okay, here is going to be going to put a nice white dot on all the glowy bits. Then we're going to come back in with the red and hit all the glowy bits. I think I don't want dirty red. Let's. I could just use that blade, but I think no. Vermilion. I'll decide if for the eyeball ones I want to do something different. Okay. I want to put just a touch of water on the white. Good. Okay. First things first. The cheek belang. Okay. Let's play find the glowy bits. Obviously, you're gonna do the eye. Trying to get that in there without making too much of a mess. I don't know if I want to do all these little vent holes. Definitely gonna need to do the back thing here though. It might not matter too much if I get a bit of white around, because I'll just color it. That needs to glow, right? We're gonna see this glows. They usually do these little vents there. There. I assume these have something to do with how they, I don't know, power their legs for climbing, so. Maybe I don't do red. Or maybe I use that glaze. I don't know. I think a nice thin red is probably what the best bet is for these. Oh, they're trying to find all these glowy bits. I'm painting white again. there. And that there. I think the answer's going to be do these, then come around with the next paint after. So let's hope we find them all again. Happy with how the Pano logo came out though in the teak belong. Innovate skin tones. Okay. I'll check it out. Okay, so this guy. What do you want to do? So obviously, first things first. I'm not sure if it's even worth. If I'm doing actual red paint, I don't even know if it's worth doing the white pass first. But, oh well, we're doing it. He's a super jumper, so I'm going to assume these are like jet engines. So I assume the wings are more stabilizers than like actual helping with the flight. So the way I see it, they're kind of like wings on a jet. Oh, his gun also has, we're going to do a little red dot for that. Here's some of those little vent things from the tick belong. Oh, actually, maybe the wings do help with flight. But I assume those again aren't the primary thrust. These little tiny things aren't going to. AC isn't jet propulsion. Oh, there we go. These are definitely the. If I was being fun, I'd paint these actually as like rocket boosters. Probably not going to. I assume all these other things are just like. That's the main lift. These are all the, you know, mid-air adjustments. Because he does have. I think he has the, what is it? Jet propulsion, where he can adjust his direction mid-air. You can like full Gundam around a battlefield. Okay, that'll be him. Done. Maybe I'll do the jet propulsion. Oh, this guy's actually already. This guy's done now. Because he was an earlier test model. He is my military tech B. This little guy. He needs right there. All these little dots. Unlike normal, this guy also has super jump jet propulsion. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do the glowy bits that are like eyes and stuff in red. And then for all the jets, which I'm going to call all these things on this guy jets. On a normal one they aren't, but we're going to go for the Star Wars approach, which is nice, you know, blue jets, I think. I'm just going to paint all these as other jets. He's fast. I find it entertaining. Like his has super jump. The Teak belongs. Little robot has climb plus. So they, on top of being very mobile tags themselves, they're little peripheral bots also. Doesn't the Meteorzond already have jets? Or do you mean like... I know it has wings, or are you talking about like the old Meteorzond? I thought the Meteorzond already did have jets. The most plain model in the army, the Hospitaller. But here's the night. All these helmet guys now get to have the fun of having their helmets. Of course, they're knights, so they're all in the shapes of crosses. Luckily, the chrome is actually very easy to wipe off. Okay, where else on you do we need? Oh, yep. Classic. Pano. So where's the glowy bit right there? Some guys I might not have bothered doing all these, but okay, she doesn't have that many. I'm probably not going to do more than that. We'll just do those. Make sure the face one is done. With the this is what I'm going to need to come back in with the chrome to touch these guys up after, but that's fine. That's still the easiest way to get it into some of those ones that are a bit filled. I think most of these guys are actually just going to have these few dots, which is good. And I'm not going to bother with the little back one. Some of these guys, their visors aren't as easy to see because they're more filled because I stripped them, but when I stripped them, I don't know if I got all the paint out of those like really tiny crevices. And then of course gloss varnish and then the chrome paint really can add up. You have a little light on your gun. Then you've got the Pano armor, little dot. Another one's covered, so I'm not going to do it. You might get a few more. You don't have the helmet one, but you got the leg. Watch your time. It's like, oh, I'm doing streaming. You make sure, don't talk at people. Just talk. But you should talk to people. In this case, I'm talking to myself. There. Now I'm a strong believer that hacking hands should have some sort of additional power thing. It's kind of like this patch. I think it's technically armor, but I'm not here for what the rules are. I'm just gonna say that part's gonna glow. You know what? He has some hex part of his armor here that has like the hex pattern to it. I'm also gonna have that glow. I'm gonna say because that's his hacking arm, so has to glow. And that's the rules of hacking. And let's just have these nodes. A little bit of a blue glow, maybe. Cool. Okay. Almost done all these dotting. This guy definitely has a. This gal has a face cross. Oh, she actually has like a bit of her shoulder here. I'm just gonna call this glowing too. There. She not have? Oh, she's a female, so she doesn't have the traditional glow spots. So we're just giving her these glowing shoulders instead. I don't think it has to glow, but hey, why not? Everyone gets some. Okay. Last 5 models. Okay, Blackfriar. I know you have a glowing face. Not to hide it. I know it's there. Okay, and then you have the leg dots. And then you've got, I'll give you a red dot sight on there. And then you have a pano backpack, so what are those? Okay, then there was 4. Most of them have faces, so that'll make this easier. You do have glowing eye though, double eye. Don't need that to glow. You can have a sight that glows. And don't you have the leg armor too? 3 more. Mendoza. I think she has a different system of not actually glowing there, is it? Do you have nothing? You got nothing to glow? Oh, no. Here we go. There's a glowing part of his wrist, which makes me want to quickly check other knights. Oh, yeah. They have some little engraved parts on them. Quickly go back and check. You know. Nope. Hospitaller? Nope. Maybe it was only new gen stuff. Let's check the fathers. Yeah, looks like it might just be the newer HI. Yes, okay. We're back. Let's see how she does on the things that glow check. I sometimes like making these glow. She didn't have the normal back. Oh, she does. She has these. I was gonna say I think I missed some, but I think it's actually on the next guy that has all of the strap dots. But we'll quickly go back here because he does have one. Right, so finally, the Teutonic Knight, who might secretly have the most glowing stuff. Because first of all, he's a knight, so he's got a glowing eyes, and because they're military orders, it's kind of a cross. Then let's see what else he has that glows. He also has a cross on his wrist guard, just the one. He's got these kind of dots on this pack. So those are like some sort of propulsion engine. Who knows? Because he does jump a lot. And then he has these dots, but I painted that as cloth. So yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into. We're going to use the red. We're going to use the vermilion and the blue-green. For large areas, we'll just kind of focus towards the edges more. But let's do it reverse. So Teuton should just be the red. So let's. Again, when I Photoshop with some chrome paint later, it should help. And then let's thin this red down a bit. Flow more to the recess. Yep. Over here, just boop, boop, boop. And just because we're here, let's just the very front, just a hint of more orangey red there. And actually, I do want. I might painted this as cloth, not metal, but let's just dot it there. Oh, and I said he did have the wrist, so we need to. Dot my T's across my T's. Okay, so he is done. The last thing will be the chrome pen, which maybe I will get to tonight. With these guys almost being done. Okay. Let's give him his scope first. Painted, not just everything around it. There we go. Kind of polish off around it. And kindly get in there. Thank you. Thank you. There. And I think that, always look for the Pano calf dots. Okay, next. This fine lady has a strap dot and another strap dot, and that's it. I want to get these right done when I'm pretty fresh in my brain when where the dots are, otherwise I'll forget. So going like so. So okay, I think that's it. Doza just has his We'll just do reverse order, or more or less. Do the 5 armored knights next. They'll all pretty much need their advisor. Try and flatten my brush a bit for painting those. Intentionally have the paint a bit thin, because then it makes it so it's easier for me to get color variation. I actually kind of want it to not be, you know, want some parts to be thinner, because then it kind of looks like those parts are glowing brighter. Good old Pano calf lights. I think most of these just had the calf lights, and then get the brush kind of flat. Point. And there we go. I'm just gonna do it on a few of them. I just wanna add just a bit of orange to the point where they meet. So actually give me these guys back. That's right there, just a hint of orange. It's almost not noticeable, but I can see it, so that's I did it to everyone else that really needed it. Again, at least they're all crosses, so it's kind of easy to know what they're going for. Now she's newer, so she will have cross on her wrist. She didn't have the other parts, but I did give her these shoulders. That's it. The glowy shoulders. Just like her, her shoulders kind of big. Give her the orange eyes. And just hit her shoulder a bit like that too. It's kind of almost like moving a little bit of heat. Cause hey, that's fine. rendering their swords kind of hot red, so similar approach that I use for my Mount Haven lava, so give a bit of heat other places works too. This is a place I really don't want there. Okay. So now him did. We're gonna go with blue. Hacking to me should be blue glow. Get it into the areas kind of painted. And then when I touch this up with chrome, I'll just intentionally avoid getting it into there. Kind of almost like Necrony. And then I'm just gonna some of the blue onto those nudes. His psychic, hacking head. And I realized we actually forgot the shoulder pads. So let's quickly do that. And while we do that, the weird little boosters. See, this area is too big and flat. We're just going to add a bit more white back in. And when that dries, we'll add a bit more blue back. But we're just going to pull to the edges a bit more. I just got that way too much in there. Let's just polish that off. There we go. And up in here. I usually use actual transparency for stuff like this, but why not? Let's just use opaque paints thin down. So that'll be Mendoza done. He'll probably get a cross or something. Okay, little bot. Thin these down. Let it pop around. And these, as we said, this will be the blue. And we're just gonna unlike the round parts where there's a clear raise, but these don't pool as well, but you can kind of just suck something up after. Just keep going around. But I actually might need to call it there for the day. Finish these guys off tomorrow or later tonight before bed. We'll see. But with that, thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna head out, and I'll make sure to post some pictures of these guys all done.